She had money, beauty, and the kind of pride that makes people fear you even when you're wrong. So when she saw a dirty-looking old man walking behind her at a plaza, she didn't ask questions. She reacted. She slapped him hard. And the whole place went silent. What she didn't know was this: the old man wasn't old and he wasn't poor. He was watching, testing. And that single slap was about to follow Vanessa into the most expensive room. Lagos never truly slept. Even in the afternoon, the city felt like it was running on generator fuel and stubborn hope. Horns screamed, Danfo drivers shouted, hawkers moved between cars like they had 9 lives. The air was hot, thick, and impatient. Even the sun looked like it was angry at everybody. Outside Golden Plaza Mall, the crowd was heavy. People were coming out with shopping bags, perfume boxes, designer shoe cartons, and tired faces. Some looked rich, some looked hungry. Most looked like they were just trying to survive the day. Then it happened. A sound sharper than a horn, louder than a shout. Slap. It cut through everything like a knife. Heads turned, phones lifted, conversations died mid-sentence. A young woman stood in the middle of the parking lot, her hand still raised like she had just slapped the world itself. She was stunning. She looked about 28, deep brown skin, long, neat braids that fell down her back, a fitted navy blue suit that hugged her body like money, gold earrings, a gold watch, perfume that announced her before her mouth did. Her name was Vanessa. And standing in front of her was an old man who looked like life had been using him as a punching bag. His shirt was faded. His trousers had small tears. His slippers looked like they had seen too many rainy seasons. His shoulders were slightly bent. His hair was grey and unkempt. His face looked wrinkled and tired. A cheap walking stick leaned against his hand. His cheek was red where Vanessa had hit him. Vanessa's eyes burned with anger and disgust. "How dare you!" she shouted. "How dare you come close to me!" The old man blinked slowly. His voice was calm, almost gentle. "Madam, I did not touch you," he said. "I was only walking." "Liar," Vanessa spat. "You were following me. You were staring at me with those dirty eyes." A few people murmured. A young man stepped forward. "Madam, please. I was here. He didn't do anything." An elderly woman added, "My dear, you're wrong. That man was just walking behind you." But Vanessa was already too deep inside her pride. She pointed at the old man like he was a cockroach. "Look at you," she said loudly. "Look at your clothes. Look at your slippers. Do you even know who I am? Do you know what I'm worth?" The old man's eyes held hers. They were sad but steady. "Madam," he said softly, "I did not mean any disrespect." Vanessa laughed a cold sound. "You people always say that," she said. "Poor men are all the same. You have nothing, and you still want to behave like you own the world." She stepped closer, voice lowering like poison. "Stay in your lane. Know your place." The old man said nothing. He didn't beg. He didn't shout. He simply looked down for a moment, as if swallowing something bitter. Then he lifted his eyes again. And for a second, just a second, Vanessa saw something in his gaze. Not fear, not weakness. Something else. Something that made her chest tighten, though she didn't understand why. A mall security guard arrived, trying to calm things down. "Madam, is there a problem?" Vanessa flipped her braids. "He harassed me," she said confidently. "But I've handled it." The guard glanced at the old man. "Sir, are you okay?" The old man nodded. "I am fine." Vanessa rolled her eyes like even his breathing annoyed her. "Next time, watch where you walk," she hissed, "and keep your dirty eyes to yourself." Then she stormed away to her shiny black Range Rover. Her driver opened the door quickly. She entered like a queen. The door slammed. The car roared away. Dust rose behind it, and the crowd slowly scattered, still whispering. The old man walked to the side of the road and sat on the curb. He stared at the ground. His shoulders sank. He looked tired. A kind woman approached him quietly. "Sir, are you sure you're okay?" He nodded again. "I am used to it." But his voice carried something heavy, like a person who had been stepped on many times, yet still refused to become evil. Nobody knew who he really was. Nobody knew that the old man Vanessa slapped wasn't old at all. And nobody knew that Vanessa had just slapped the very person who would soon change her life forever. Across town, behind tall gates and quiet security, a mansion stood in a wealthy estate where even the air smelled expensive. Inside, a young man sat alone in a glass-walled office, looking at the city like he was tired of it. His name was Adrian Chinedu, 32 years old, tall, broad shoulders, deep brown skin, sharp jaw, calm eyes, handsome enough to make people stare, rich enough to make people pretend they didn't. Adrian wasn't just rich, he was a billionaire. He owned a fast-growing tech and logistics empire called Stonelink Group, operating across Africa. His face was on magazine covers, his name was spoken in rooms where politicians smiled too much. But Adrian wasn't smiling, because no matter how much money he had, his heart carried one fear like a wound that never closed. Love. Not love itself, but the kind of love that looked like love, sounded like love, yet was only hungry for money. His phone buzzed. Messages from board members, reports, contracts. He ignored them. Instead, he slowly removed the grey wig from his head. Then he peeled off the skin-like wrinkles on his cheeks and forehead. Then he pulled out the fake teeth and rubbed his jaw. His face changed in the mirror like a man waking up from a lie. He looked young again. He looked powerful again. He looked like the kind of man people would fight to marry. Adrian stared at his reflection for a long time. Then he whispered to himself, "I will not die like my father died." His assistant knocked lightly and entered. "Sir, are you back?" the man asked carefully, as if this ritual still scared him. Adrian nodded. "Any issues?" the assistant asked. Adrian's eyes hardened. "A young woman slapped me today," he said. The assistant's mouth opened. "What? Sir, should we—" "No," Adrian said, cutting him off. "I'm not calling police. I'm not ruining her life. Not yet." He sat down slowly. "Bring me the footage," he added. "Yes, sir." Adrian leaned back and closed his eyes, and in the darkness behind his eyelids, his father's voice returned, like it always did. A voice filled with patience, a voice filled with pain, a voice that had waited too long for someone who never returned. Adrian didn't grow up in a mansion. He grew up in a small one-room apartment where rain could enter through the windows like an uninvited guest. His father's name was Mr. Paul, a hard-working man, a quiet man, the kind of man who would rather suffer than complain. He sold spare parts by the roadside. Every morning he would wake Adrian up early. "My son," he would say, "life is not easy, but you must be a good person. Money is important, yes, but character is what will save you." Adrian's mother, Monica, was different. She was beautiful, very beautiful, and she hated poverty the way some people hate sickness. At first, she pretended to endure it. She would smile. She would say, "We will get there." She would touch Paul's face and call him "my husband." But gradually, her eyes started changing. She began to compare. "Look at my mates," she would say. "They are married to men driving cars. Look at me. Look at this suffering." Paul would beg her gently, "Please be patient. I'm trying." Then one day Monica left. She didn't fight. She didn't shout. She just packed a small bag and stood at the door. Paul's voice shook. "Monica, where are you going?" She looked back once. "I'm going where my life will start," she said coldly. "This is not living. This is dying." Paul fell on his knees. "Please," he begged, "for Adrian's sake, stay. I will work harder. I will change our life." Monica's eyes held no mercy. "If love is not paying bills," she said, "then love is not enough." Then she walked away and never returned. For years Paul waited. He waited like love could force someone to come back. He would still keep Monica's slippers at the corner. He would still keep her wrapper folded. He would still tell Adrian, "Your mother will come back one day. Don't hate her." Adrian used to ask, "Daddy, why are you still waiting?" Paul would smile sadly. "Because my heart is foolish," he would say, "and because I promised God I would love her." That waiting destroyed Paul slowly. He worked harder, yes, but stress entered his body like poison. His health failed. and one night Paul sat on the bed breathing like the air was fighting him. Adrian was only 17. He held his father's hand, crying. "Daddy," he begged, "please don't leave me." Paul's eyes were already far away. "My son," he whispered, "promise me something." "Yes, Daddy." "Don't let a woman's greed destroy you," Paul said, voice shaking. "Don't marry someone who will love your money more than your soul." Adrian's tears fell hot. "I promise," he said. Paul squeezed his hand weakly. "And another thing," Paul added. "No matter what you become in life, don't look down on anybody. The world can change in one day." Then Paul's grip loosened, and Adrian felt the hand go cold. That night, Adrian buried his father with nothing but tears and anger. He swore that poverty would never touch him again. He swore that if he ever became rich, he would never let a woman like Monica enter his life and destroy him like she destroyed his father. That was the beginning of Adrian's mission, not to punish women, but to protect his heart, to find someone who could respect kindness, even when age was no longer on his side. So he created the old man disguise, and he went out into Lagos like a test, a silent exam. Vanessa had failed. Vanessa lived in a modern house with white walls, marble floors, and a generator that never annoyed her. Her business, cosmetics and skincare, was booming, mostly because she marketed herself like a goddess. Online, she was loved. In real life, she was feared. Her friends admired her confidence, but they also knew not to cross her. Because Vanessa didn't just insult you. She could destroy your self-esteem and still call it truth. That evening, she stood in front of her mirror, removing her makeup. Her phone buzzed with notifications. Engagement countdown, 21 days. Yes. Vanessa was engaged to a man named Adrian Chinedu, the billionaire, the dream husband, the prize. But here was the funny part: Vanessa had never truly known Adrian. Not the way you know someone's heart, not the way you know someone's pain. She only knew the name, the money, the respect people gave him without asking questions. She knew the kind of life that would come with him, and for Vanessa, that was enough. Still, Vanessa liked to tell her friends something else. She liked to act like she and Adrian had a deep connection, as if they were soulmates, as if love had found her. But the truth was simpler and uglier. Vanessa had chased Adrian like a goal, and she had done it with the patience of a hungry person watching a pot of soup. It started at a charity gala, the kind of event where people donated money with one hand and held champagne with the other. It was held at a luxury hotel in Victoria Island, the type where even the floor shines like it knows it's expensive. Vanessa had attended with two of her friends. They were loud, dressed like social media, and laughing too much. Vanessa wore a red gown that hugged her body like it was glued there. She didn't come for charity. She came to be seen, and she was seen. Men stared. Women watched her with that quiet jealousy. Even some married men pretended they were looking at their phones, but their eyes were betraying them. Vanessa enjoyed it. Then somebody whispered behind her, "Adrian Chinedu is here." Vanessa froze, then slowly turned like a queen hearing her name. She saw him. He wasn't shouting. He wasn't moving like a man trying to prove he was rich. He was simply standing with calm confidence, in a dark suit that fit him perfectly. He looked quiet, but quiet in a powerful way. The kind of quiet that makes noise feel cheap. Vanessa's chest tightened. Her friend nudged her. "That's him. That's Adrian Chinedu." Vanessa's eyes sparkled. "That man is fine," she whispered. Her friend laughed. "Fine? Sis, that one is not fine. That one's money." Vanessa didn't answer. She was already planning. Because Vanessa didn't like maybe. Vanessa liked mine. She didn't rush him that night. No, Vanessa was proud, but she was also strategic. She knew how rich men behaved. They liked women who acted like they didn't care. So Vanessa acted like she didn't care. She stood at the dessert table, looking unbothered, while her friends were busy taking pictures. Then she waited. As expected, Adrian eventually came close. Not because he was chasing her, but because the event organizers were moving guests around, greeting people, and introducing important faces. A woman from the charity committee approached Adrian with a bright smile. "Mr. Chinedu," she said warmly, "thank you for coming. May I introduce you to one of our supporters too? Vanessa Adeshina. She runs a skincare line." Vanessa stretched her hand politely. "Good evening," she said softly. Adrian shook her hand. His grip was firm but not aggressive. His eyes met hers and held for a second. Adrian recognized Vanessa as the woman who slapped him, but he pretended not to know. "Good evening, Vanessa," he said. His voice was calm, not impressed, not thirsty, not hypnotized, and Vanessa didn't like that, because Vanessa was used to being a magnet, but Adrian treated her like a human being, not a trophy. Still, she smiled. "I admire what you're doing," she said, choosing her words carefully. "A lot of people have money, but they don't care." Adrian nodded once. "Thank you." Vanessa tilted her head, pretending curiosity. "So what makes you care?" she asked. Adrian looked at her as if measuring whether the question was real. Then he said, "Because I know what it means to have nothing." Vanessa blinked. That answer surprised her. She had expected him to say something like, "It's my passion," or "Giving back is important." But he sounded like he had lived something. Vanessa leaned in a little, acting interested. "That's deep," she said. Adrian only nodded again. Vanessa realized something immediately. This man would not fall for loud flirting. So she changed her approach. Instead of trying to seduce him, she decided to make him talk. Rich men love talking about themselves, she thought. So she asked small questions. Where did you grow up? What inspired your business? What do you value? Adrian answered, but not too much, like a man who had learned to protect his personal life. Then Adrian asked her questions too, not about her body, not about her looks, but about her mind. What do you value most? He asked. Vanessa laughed lightly. Success. Adrian nodded. Kindness? Vanessa shrugged. Kindness is nice, but it doesn't pay bills. She said it like it was wisdom. But Adrian didn't smile. He only looked at her for a second longer than normal. Then he nodded slowly. Interesting, he said. That was all. Just that one word. But the way he said it made Vanessa feel like she had just written something wrong in an exam. She quickly added, I mean, kindness matters, but in this Lagos, if you're too kind, people will use you. Adrian nodded again. True. They talked a little more. Then Adrian was pulled away by another group, and Vanessa watched him go. Her friend rushed back to her. How far? Did you catch him? Vanessa smiled like a hunter who had seen fresh footprints. I've started, she said. After that night, Vanessa made sure they accidentally met again. She attended events she usually ignored. She showed up at business dinners. She donated small money to charities just so her name could enter the same circles. She told herself it was networking, but she knew it was hunting. And one day it worked. Adrian called. Not a long call. Not a romantic call. Just simple. Vanessa, he said, are you free for lunch tomorrow? Vanessa almost screamed, but she controlled herself like a professional liar. Yes, she said calmly. What time? They met at a quiet restaurant in Ikoyi, not the loud type, not the one with influencers and flash, a calm place. Vanessa arrived early. She wore something elegant but not too loud. She wanted to look wife material. When Adrian arrived, he greeted her politely. They sat, food came, and Adrian watched. Vanessa noticed his eyes. He was observing, not just listening, observing. So Vanessa behaved. She spoke softly to waiters. She said please and thank you. She even smiled gently, like she had peace in her heart. Inside, Vanessa was acting. But she acted well, because she knew one thing. Men like Adrian don't want noise, they want calm. So Vanessa became calm, at least on the surface. After lunch, Adrian invited her again. A walk in a private garden space, coffee at a quiet cafe, a short drive, small conversations. Vanessa's friends were confused. Why is he moving so slowly? One asked. This man is a billionaire. Why is he acting like a youth corper? Vanessa hissed. Leave him. This kind of man doesn't like desperate women. But Vanessa herself was getting impatient. Because Adrian wasn't doing what rich men normally did. He wasn't buying her gifts, he wasn't spraying money, he wasn't promising her the moon, he was just talking, watching, asking questions. Sometimes he would go quiet and stare into space like a man hearing an old memory. Vanessa started wondering if something was wrong with him. But then she remembered the prize. And she stayed. She stayed because patience is easy when the reward is big. Then came the day Vanessa saw him again, not as Adrian Chinadu, billionaire, but as the old man. It was after the Golden Plaza slap incident. She didn't know it was Adrian. She only knew she had slapped a dirty old man. And when she returned home, she didn't even feel guilty. She felt proud, like she had defended her standard. Later that night, she was scrolling through Instagram when she saw something. A post, a business blog, a picture of Adrian Chinadu, looking handsome in a suit. The headline said something like, Stonelink Group CEO Adrian Chinadu to attend Lost Business Summit. Vanessa smiled. Soon, she whispered. Because in Vanessa's mind, she was not engaged yet, but she was already imagining it. She was already planning her caption. Somewhere else in Lagos, Adrian sat in his mansion, eyes hard. His assistant had brought him the footage, the mall security footage, the recordings from people's phones. Adrian watched it. He watched Vanessa slap him. He watched her insult him. He watched her call him nothing. And as he watched, he didn't feel anger first. He felt something worse. He felt confirmation. Because Vanessa wasn't just rude. Vanessa was the exact kind of woman his father warned him about. The exact kind of woman his mother had been. And Adrian's heart closed like a door. Sir, the assistant said quietly, should we expose her? Adrian shook his head. No, he said, not yet. The assistant looked confused. Adrian leaned back. I want to see something, he said. What, sir? Adrian's eyes narrowed. I want to see how far a person can pretend, he said. The assistant swallowed. Sir, are you saying you will still keep seeing her? Adrian's mouth tightened. I will, he said. But now I'm not seeing a woman. I'm seeing a test. And that was how the trap began. Vanessa thought she was dating a billionaire. Adrian was dating a question. Weeks passed. Vanessa and Adrian's meetings increased, and Vanessa became better at acting. She started speaking gently. She started posting charity quotes. She even once posted, "Be kind. You never know what someone is going through." Her friends laughed. Since when you become Mother Teresa, they teased. Vanessa smiled. Growth, she said. But it was not growth. It was strategy. One evening, Adrian invited her to his home. Vanessa almost fainted. Because entering a man's home is like entering his life. She dressed carefully. Soft perfume. Calm makeup. Nothing too dramatic. When she arrived, the mansion gates opened like a movie. Security bowed. The compound was quiet, clean, and powerful. Vanessa stepped inside and tried not to show wonder. But inside her, her heart was shouting, I have arrived. Adrian greeted her and offered her a seat. Vanessa spoke politely. She praised the house. She admired the interior, but she tried not to overdo it. Adrian watched her again. Then he asked something simple. Vanessa, he said, if I lost everything tomorrow, what would you do? Vanessa froze for half a second. Then she laughed like it was a joke. Ah, Adrian, why would you say that? She said softly. Adrian's eyes stayed steady. Answer me. Vanessa swallowed. In her mind, she wanted to say, I will leave, of course. I'm not mad. But she smiled and said the right lie. I would stand by you, she said, voice sweet, because I'm not with you for money. Adrian nodded slowly, and Vanessa felt like she had passed. But inside Adrian, something colder happened, because he remembered the slap, and he thought, you can say anything, Vanessa. I've seen your heart already. Still, he continued, because Adrian was not rushing. He was building evidence. As the weeks went on, Vanessa pressed for commitment in soft ways. Not directly, because she didn't want to seem desperate, but she would say things like, my mother is asking about you. My friends are asking if you're serious. I don't like wasting time. She would smile while saying it, but the message was clear. Adrian listened. Then one day, he invited her to another big event. A billionaire gala, a serious one. The kind that decides who is somebody in Lagos. Vanessa was excited because she knew this was a public step, a sign. She dressed like a queen again. And that night, at the gala, Vanessa acted like the perfect woman. When waiters brought drinks, she smiled. When people greeted, she greeted back politely. When a small server spilled something, she didn't shout. She even said, "It's fine, don't worry." People around her murmured, "Wow, Vanessa has changed." Vanessa heard it and smiled inside, because she loved praise like she loved perfume. But from across the room, Adrian was watching, and his eyes saw something Vanessa didn't realize she did. A small moment. A waiter made a mistake and brought still water instead of sparkling. Vanessa smiled politely, but her eyes narrowed. She spoke softly, but her tone was sharp. "I said sparkling," she whispered. "Please don't waste my time." The waiter apologized. Vanessa kept smiling, but Adrian saw the truth beneath the smile. He saw the same Vanessa, just wearing a mask. That night, after the gala, Vanessa sat in her room and smiled to herself, because Adrian had held her hand in public. He had walked beside her. He had introduced her to someone important. To Vanessa, that meant one thing. She was winning. She didn't know Adrian had already decided something else. If Vanessa could pretend this well, then she could also destroy a man quietly while smiling. And Adrian refused to become that man. Still, to everyone's shock, Adrian continued the relationship, and because he continued, Vanessa became confident. She began to feel like the slap incident had no consequences. She didn't even remember the old man anymore, just another poor person she had corrected. Life moved, Lagos moved, and the engagement countdown began, even before the ring came. Then one evening, Adrian called Vanessa to meet him, a quiet restaurant, not too public. Vanessa wore a classy dress and arrived with her best gentlewoman smile. Adrian sat across from her, calm. He didn't waste time. "Vanessa," he said, "I want to ask you something." Vanessa's heart jumped. "Yes," she said quickly, softening her voice. Adrian looked into her eyes. "Do you think you're a good person?" he asked. Vanessa blinked, surprised. She laughed lightly. "Of course." Adrian's face stayed straight. Vanessa tried to read his mood. Was he flirting? Was he joking? But he wasn't smiling, so Vanessa adjusted. "I'm not perfect," she said, "but I have a good heart." Adrian nodded slowly. Then he said something that made Vanessa's stomach twist. "Good," he said, "because I want a woman with a good heart." Vanessa smiled, relieved. Then Adrian continued. "I've seen a lot of people," he said, "and I've realized that beauty is common, money is common, but character is rare." Vanessa nodded like she agreed, but inside her she was thinking, this man and his motivational speeches, just propose and let's go. Adrian reached into his pocket. Vanessa's breath caught. He brought out a small box. Vanessa's eyes widened. Yes, finally, the prize. Adrian opened it. A ring, simple but expensive, the kind that doesn't need to shout because it already knows its worth. Vanessa covered her mouth dramatically. "Oh my God," she whispered. Adrian's voice was calm. "Will you marry me?" he asked. Vanessa didn't even think. "Yes," she cried. She reached her hand out quickly. Adrian slid the ring on. People in the restaurant clapped. Vanessa smiled like a woman who had just won Lagos. Adrian smiled too, but his smile was not the same. Vanessa couldn't see it, but Adrian's smile had pain behind it, because he recognized her. He knew who she was. He knew what she had done. And yet, he still proposed. Not because he loved her, but because he was setting a trap for truth, a final test, a final exposure. When Vanessa got home that night, she screamed with excitement. She rushed into the living room where her mother, Mrs. Helen, was sitting. "Mummy!" Vanessa shouted. "It happened!" Mrs. Helen stood quickly. "What happened?" Vanessa lifted her hand like a trophy. "The ring!" she screamed. "Adrian proposed!" Mrs. Helen's eyes widened. Then she smiled, but slowly. A mother's smile, happy but cautious. "Congratulations, my daughter," she said softly, hugging her. Vanessa hugged back, already imagining Instagram posts. Mrs. Helen pulled away and looked at her. "Vanessa," she said gently, "this is serious." Vanessa rolled her eyes playfully. "Of course it's serious. He's a billionaire." Mrs. Helen's smile faded slightly. "I mean, marriage is serious," she said. "Not money." Vanessa waved her hand. "Mummy, relax, I will be fine." Mrs. Helen sighed quietly but didn't argue, because she didn't know the slap had happened. She didn't know Vanessa had already shown Adrian a part of herself that could ruin everything. And so the countdown began. 21 days to the engagement party. Golden Heights Hotel, 200 guests, white roses, crystal chandeliers, live band, media coverage. Vanessa wanted the whole city to see her. She wanted young girls to feel envy. She wanted her old classmates to choke on regret. And she wanted Adrian's family, whoever they were, to bow their heads and accept her. But there was something Vanessa didn't know. Adrian had been planning something too. Not for attention, not for show, but for truth. And somewhere deep inside him, his father's warning echoed again. Don't marry someone who will love your money more than your soul. Adrian Chinedu stared at the city from his office window and whispered, "Not me, never me." People can forgive almost anything. Cheating, lying, betrayal. But embarrassment? Embarrassment is the one thing Lagos will never let you forget. And Vanessa didn't know it yet. But embarrassment was already loading like a network in bad weather. The engagement party was close now. Vanessa became a full-time wedding project manager. She didn't sleep well, she didn't eat well, she only planned. Flowers, music, food, seating, lighting, dress, makeup, guest list. Her tailor became her second boyfriend. Her event planner became her therapist. Her friends became her choir. They were always around her shouting, "Queen V, Mrs. Chinedu, billionaire wife." Vanessa liked it. She soaked it in like lotion. Because in Vanessa's mind, this engagement was not just love. It was a victory. It was proof. Proof that she was better than her mates. Proof that her beauty had finally paid her. Proof that her standard was correct. And she wanted the whole of Lagos to watch. Mrs. Helen tried to be happy too. But every time she looked at Vanessa, something in her chest worried. Not because Vanessa was getting married, but because Vanessa was getting married with the kind of pride that destroys people quietly. One evening, Mrs. Helen sat beside her daughter while Vanessa was scrolling through engagement decor pictures. "Vanessa," she said softly, "are you sure you understand what marriage is?" Vanessa didn't look up. "Mummy, please. Marriage is marriage." Mrs. Helen sighed. "Marriage is not just a party. It is patience. It is respect. It is character." Vanessa finally looked up, irritated. "Mummy, you always talk like poverty," she said. "In my own marriage, respect will come naturally. You don't disrespect a billionaire." "Mrs." Helen's face changed. "Vanessa," she said slowly, "you don't respect someone because they are rich. You respect someone because they are human." Vanessa scoffed. Okay, I hear." But she didn't hear. She only endured her mother's talk like noise. Then she went back to her phone. Adrian Chinedu was calm through everything. Too calm. He didn't argue about money. He didn't argue about guest list. He didn't act like a man excited to show off. He just approved things, paid, signed, nodded. To Vanessa, it looked like seriousness. To Adrian, it was something else. It was distance. Because the truth was simple. Adrian was not planning a celebration. Adrian was planning a reveal. His assistant, Kunla, had started feeling uncomfortable. One night, Kunla walked into Adrian's office and found him staring at the engagement invitation card. It was beautiful. Gold letters, glossy paper. It smelled expensive. But Adrian's face looked like he was reading a death sentence. "Sir," Kunal said carefully, "are you sure about this?" Adrian didn't look up. "I'm sure," he said. Kunal swallowed. "Sir, respectfully, you're proposing to a woman you already know is not kind." Adrian finally looked at him. His eyes were calm but deep. "She is kind," Adrian said slowly. Kunla blinked, confused. Adrian continued. "She is kind when she thinks kindness will benefit her," he said. and I need to show her that is not kindness. Kunle sighed. So you will disgrace her? Adrian's jaw tightened. I'm not disgracing her, he said quietly. She disgraced herself the day she slapped an old man. Kunle looked down. Adrian stood up and walked toward the window. His voice became lower. My father died because of a woman who loved comfort more than loyalty, he said. I won't repeat that story. Kunle nodded slowly. Then he asked something that had been in his mind for days. Sir, why did you still propose? Why not just walk away quietly? Adrian's eyes stayed on the city. Because Vanessa will not learn if it is private, he said. She will only tell herself she was unlucky. Kunle's throat tightened. And, Adrian added, voice colder, because people like Vanessa keep doing this to poor people every day without consequences. Kunle went silent. Adrian turned back. I'm not doing this for revenge, he said. I'm doing this for truth. Engagement day arrives. Golden Heights Hotel looked like heaven had been rented. The ballroom smelled like perfume and money. White roses stood everywhere like they were guarding the place. Crystal chandeliers hung from the ceiling like frozen rain. The stage was decorated like a fairy tale. A live band was warming up. Waiters moved around with trays like ants with purpose. Guests arrived in expensive cars. Women wore gowns that could pay school fees for 10 children. Men wore suits and fake smiles. Vanessa stood near the stage, glowing in a pastel gown with silver embroidery. She looked like a bride already, and she enjoyed the way people stared. Every time someone said, "Wow, Vanessa, you look amazing," she smiled like they were right to worship her. Her friends circled her like bodyguards. Her phone was already recording. Her photographer was already ready. Everything was perfect. Everything was planned. Everything was ready for Vanessa's victory. Then the ballroom doors opened, and the room shifted. An old man walked in slowly. Torn clothes, cracked slippers, grey hair, bent shoulders, walking stick. Whispers spread immediately. Who is that? Is he lost? Security. Vanessa's smile froze the moment she saw him. Her stomach dropped, because she recognized him. The old man she slapped, the one she called nothing. Vanessa's blood became hot. It felt like someone poured pepper inside her chest. Not because she felt guilty, but because she felt threatened. Because how dare this man show up here? How dare a poor old man bring his poverty into her clean, expensive moment? She marched toward him like a storm. How dare you come here? She hissed. This is a private event. The old man looked at her calmly. He didn't speak. Vanessa's pride rose higher. You are mad, she snapped. You think this is where you belong? This is not a bus stop. Guests began to record again. Adrian's engagement party was already becoming a show. Vanessa didn't care. She wanted the old man removed immediately. Security, she shouted. Remove him. 2 security men rushed in. The old man didn't resist. He allowed them to hold his arms, but the old man's eyes stayed on Vanessa, quiet, steady. And Vanessa hated that look, because it didn't beg, it didn't fear her, it was calm, it felt like judgment. Vanessa turned to the crowd dramatically, acting like a victim. This man has been following me, she cried. He has been disturbing me since Golden Plaza Mall. He wants to ruin my engagement. People murmured. Some were shocked. Some were enjoying it like free entertainment. One woman whispered, what kind of drama is this? Vanessa pointed at the old man's torn clothes. Look at him, he's dirty, he's shameless, she shouted. The old man still said nothing, he simply looked at her with the same quiet eyes. Vanessa felt herself losing control. She stepped closer and hissed under her breath. Are you stupid? Do you want me to destroy you? The old man's lips moved slightly. He spoke softly so only she could hear. Madam, you already destroyed yourself. Vanessa froze. For 1 second her heart jumped. Why did that sound like something? Why did the voice feel familiar? No. Impossible. Vanessa shook her head and snapped at the security men. Carry him out, now! They began walking him toward the exit. Vanessa exhaled, relief entering her. She turned back to her guests. She forced a laugh. "Please ignore that nonsense," she said with a fake smile. "Some people don't know boundaries." Guests laughed awkwardly. The band tried to play softly to cover the tension. Vanessa lifted her chin. She had handled it. Again. Then a loud sound filled the air outside, a deep roar, like the sky was tearing. Guests looked up. Windows vibrated slightly. People rushed toward the balcony and windows. Somebody shouted, "A private jet is landing." Vanessa's eyes lit up. She clapped like a child. "Oh my God!" she squealed. "That must be Adrian's special surprise for me." Cameras moved. Guests whispered excitedly. People started trending the moment before it even happened. Because in Lagos, if you don't record it, did it even happen? Vanessa's friend screamed, "Ah, billionaire things." Vanessa smiled widely. Her heart was dancing. She pictured herself telling people, "He surprised me with a private jet landing." She pictured the caption. She pictured the envy. She pictured everything. Then the ballroom door opened again, and the atmosphere died. Because the man who entered was not old. He was young, handsome, tall, and he walked like the whole world belonged to him. His suit was clean, expensive, and perfect. His face was calm. His eyes were steady. He looked like danger wrapped in quiet. And behind him, staff rolled in a large black box, like a performance was about to happen. Vanessa's heart jumped happily. "Adrian," she smiled brightly, stepping forward. But the young man didn't smile. He looked at her like she was someone he had just finally understood. Then he spoke into the microphone with a calm voice that filled the entire room. "Good evening," he said. "My name is Adrian Chinedu." Guests cheered. Vanessa smiled proudly. Adrian continued. "And yes, today is supposed to be my engagement." Vanessa's chest swelled. Then Adrian paused and pointed toward the entrance. "Before we continue," he said, "I want to introduce someone." Vanessa frowned slightly. Adrian nodded once, and the old man walked back in. The same torn clothes, the same walking stick. Vanessa's face twisted. "What is he doing here again?" she hissed. Adrian's eyes stayed on Vanessa. Then he said calmly, "That old man is me." The room went silent like someone had switched off Lagos itself. Vanessa's smile broke. "What?" she whispered. Adrian stepped forward. He reached up slowly, and in front of everyone, media, guests, friends, he began removing the disguise. He peeled off the gray hair. He pulled off the wrinkled skin layer. He removed the fake teeth. And in less than a minute, the old man disappeared. Standing there was Adrian. The same Adrian, the groom, the billionaire. Vanessa staggered back like she had been slapped by reality. Her lips trembled. You, she stammered. Adrian's voice stayed calm. "You slapped me outside Golden Plaza Mall," he said. "You insulted me. You called me nothing. You laughed at my torn slippers." Vanessa shook her head wildly. No, Adrian, please." Adrian lifted his hand slightly. "Let me finish," he said. And the fear in Vanessa's eyes grew because she realized this wasn't a surprise engagement party anymore. This was a trial. And she was losing. Adrian faced the crowd. "I know many of you are confused," he said, "so I will explain." He turned back to Vanessa. "I did not do this to embarrass you," he said. "I did it to protect myself." Vanessa's tears formed fast. "Protect yourself from what?" she cried. Adrian's eyes darkened like a painful door opened inside him. "My mother," he said quietly. The room leaned in. "My mother was beautiful," Adrian continued, "and she was tired of poverty." Vanessa swallowed hard. Adrian's voice became heavier. "She left my father because we were poor. She told him love wasn't enough. She walked away and never returned." Whispers spread. Adrian continued. "My father waited for her. He suffered. He endured shame. He worked until his body broke, and even while dying, he still believed she would come back." Adrian's throat tightened slightly, but he forced the words out. "She never came back." Guests were quiet now. Even the band stood still. Adrian looked at Vanessa. "My father died with her name on his lips," he said, "and I promised myself I would never allow a woman like that to enter my life." Vanessa cried, shaking her head. "I'm not like that," she whispered. Adrian stared at her. "You are," he said softly. "You proved it with your own mouth, your own hands." Vanessa fell to her knees. Adrian, please, she begged. I didn't know it was you. I thought he was just poor. Adrian finished for her. Just worthless. Just somebody you could slap without fear. Vanessa sobbed harder. The room felt cold now. Adrian turned to the crowd again. For months, he said, I have been going out disguised as an old man. I watch how people treat the weak, the tired, the poor. He paused. Not because I hate people, he added, but because I want truth. He looked back at Vanessa. You treated me like trash, he said. Twice? Vanessa shook, reaching for his trousers. I will change. I swear, I will change. Adrian stepped back. A woman who changes only when she is caught, he said quietly, was never good in the first place. Then Adrian turned to the guests and spoke clearly. This engagement is off. Gasps exploded. Phones rose higher. Vanessa screamed like her soul was tearing. No, Adrian, please! But Adrian didn't move toward her. He only looked at her one last time and said, I needed a wife, not a mask. He turned and walked away, and the room full of roses and lights suddenly felt like a funeral. The video spread like wildfire. Instagram bloggers analyzed every second. Twitter made jokes. WhatsApp family groups turned it into a moral lesson. Even children in the street were singing, slap 'am, na billionaire. Vanessa locked herself inside her room. She stopped going out. She stopped answering calls. Every time her phone buzzed, her heart jumped like she was about to be mocked again. Her friends, those loud friends who used to shout, Queen V, became silent. Only her mother stayed. Mrs. Helen would sit beside her and stroke her hair like Vanessa was suddenly a child again. My daughter, she would say softly, this is pain, but pain can become wisdom, if you allow it. Vanessa would cry until her chest hurt. I ruined everything, she would whisper. Her mother would reply, yes, but you are still alive, so you can still change. Vanessa didn't believe it, because in her world, reputation was everything, and hers was now broken. Then one afternoon, Vanessa opened her curtains slightly and saw something that made her stomach twist. Outside their gate, 2 young girls were taking pictures. They pointed and laughed. Nah, here she day, one shouted. Vanessa jumped back like she'd been stabbed. That night, Vanessa finally admitted something she had never said out loud. Mummy, she whispered, I don't think I was a good person. Her mother didn't smile. She simply said, now you're finally seeing. Adrian met Grace again, and the story turned. A week after the scandal, Adrian wore the disguise again. But this time, he wasn't testing for marriage. He was testing himself. He needed to know the world still had goodness, because anger had started entering his heart like smoke, and he hated that. He walked through a busy area near Yaba, leaning on his stick, moving slowly like a man whose bones had grown tired of life. People passed him. Some avoided him like he carried bad luck. Some looked at him with disgust. A few laughed quietly. Then he reached a bus stop where the sun was hot, and the air smelled like sweat, suya smoke, and impatience. A young woman stood there holding a small carton of food. She looked about 25. Simple clothes, a plain brown blouse, black skirt, and flat slippers. No heavy makeup, no drama, just a calm face and tired eyes. Her name was Grace. Grace noticed Adrian immediately, not because he looked rich, but because he looked like he needed help. She stepped closer. Sir, she said gently, are you okay? Adrian blinked, acting weak. My daughter, he said in an old voice. I am fine. Grace shook her head. You're not fine, she said softly. You're sweating. Sit here. She moved her bag from the bench and helped him sit. Adrian watched her hands. No fear, no disgust, just care. Grace opened her food. It was rice and beans with a small piece of fish. She hesitated, then broke the fish into 2. Please eat, she said, handing him the bigger part. Adrian stared. My daughter, he said, voice shaky. This is your food. Grace smiled faintly. Food will come again, she said. But you need strength now. Adrian felt something tighten in his chest. He looked away quickly, pretending to cough. Grace didn't stop. She brought water from her bottle and offered him. Then she looked at the other people around the bus stop and said loudly, Is it because he is old that you people can't see him? Is he not a human being? A man hissed. Madam, leave matter. Na your papa? Grace turned, calm but firm. If it's my papa, I will still help him, she said. And if it's not my papa, I will still help him. Because tomorrow can be anybody. Adrian lowered his gaze to hide his expression. Because that line sounded like his father. Grace paid his transport. Grace sat with him. Grace defended him. Then Adrian followed her quietly from a distance, not like a stalker, like a man afraid to believe in miracles. Grace entered a small private school, not a fancy one, the kind with peeling paint and children's drawings on the walls. Adrian watched from outside. He saw her greet children with smiles. He saw her bend down to tie a child's shoe. He saw her carry books like she was carrying the future. Adrian's throat tightened again. This wasn't performance, this was character. The next day, Adrian returned as himself. A sleek black SUV, a tailored suit, quiet, expensive presence. The school staff panicked. They rushed out. Sir, welcome, sir. The headmistress almost knelt. Grace came out too, confused. Then she saw Adrian, and her eyes widened slightly, because she recognized him, not as a billionaire, but as the old man. Her mouth opened a little. Adrian walked toward her calmly. Good afternoon, he said. Grace stared. Then she said softly, It's you. Adrian nodded. Grace's eyes moved over him slowly. The expensive suit, the young skin, the quiet power. She stepped back one small step. My God, she whispered. So, you were pretending. Adrian didn't deny it. Yes, he said, I was. Grace's expression changed. Not anger, not greed, something like disappointment. So it was a test, she said quietly. Adrian's voice stayed gentle. I'm sorry, he said, but yes. Grace exhaled slowly. I didn't help you because I wanted something, she said. I helped you because you looked like my father before he died. Adrian's chest tightened again. Grace continued, voice firm now. But if you came to test me like I'm a child, then I don't like that. Adrian nodded once. That's fair, he said. Grace looked away. What do you want? She asked. Adrian answered honestly. I want to know if someone can love me without loving my money, he said. Grace looked back at him. And you think testing people is the only way? She asked. Adrian didn't reply immediately, because her question hit him. Grace held his gaze calmly. My own opinion, she said, is that if you want love, you must also be brave. Love is not something you can control like business. Adrian's lips twitched slightly. Grace added, But I understand your fear. Adrian's eyes softened. You do? He asked. Grace nodded. My mother also left my father when he lost his job, she said. So I understand what it means to watch someone you love break. Adrian went still. Grace looked down. I hate people who use others, she said. So yes, I understand you. Adrian inhaled slowly. Then he said, I'm Adrian. Grace's eyes lifted. I know, she said softly. I've seen you on the news, especially recently. Adrian winced slightly. Grace didn't smile. She only said, that engagement thing was wild. Adrian gave a tired half smile. Tell me about it. Grace hesitated, then asked, So why are you here? Adrian looked at the school, then back at her. Because I want to help this school, he said. And, he paused, and because I want to know you. Grace stared at him for a long moment. Then she said quietly, If you want to know me, come as a human being, not as a test. Adrian nodded slowly. I will, he said. 3 days after the engagement scandal, Adrian sat alone in his mansion. He didn't go online, he didn't watch the videos, he didn't read the comments. He only sat in silence, thinking about his father, thinking about how close he came to repeating that same pain. Then his assistant entered, looking nervous. Sir, he said, someone is at the gate. Who? Adrian asked, without interest. The assistant swallowed. She says she is your mother. Adrian's body went still. His heart did something strange, like it wanted to run and fight at the same time. Let her in, he said quietly. Minutes later, the living room door opened, and a woman walked in. She was older now, but still beautiful in a way that annoyed Adrian. Expensive wig, expensive perfume, expensive handbag, but her eyes carried desperation. She looked at Adrian like she was seeing a miracle. Adrian, she whispered, voice trembling. My son. Adrian stared at her like she was a stranger who had stolen a familiar face. Monica, he said, not Mum. Her lips shook. She took a step forward. I have been looking for you, she said quickly. I didn't know where you were. I didn't know. Adrian cut her off. You didn't know, he repeated. Or you didn't care. Monica burst into tears. I was foolish, she cried. I was young. I wanted a better life. I made a mistake. Adrian's eyes stayed dry. My father waited for you, he said. He died waiting. Monica covered her mouth, crying louder. I didn't know he died, she whispered. I swear I didn't know. Adrian's voice dropped like a stone. Where were you? He asked. When we were hungry? When I had to drop out for a year to work? When my father was coughing blood and still going to sell spare parts? Monica knelt suddenly. I am sorry, she begged. I have suffered too. I married another man. He beat me. He used me. I thought money would save me, but it destroyed me. Adrian watched her, and for a second he saw something that confused him. Not manipulation, not pride. Real regret. But regret didn't bring back a dead father. Monica crawled closer. Please, she cried. Forgive me, I am your mother. I gave birth to you. Adrian stood up slowly, and the room felt like thunder was about to fall. Monica was still on her knees, crying like her tears could wash away 20 years of absence. The expensive wig on her head was slightly shifted. Her hands were shaking. Her shoulders were rising and falling like she had run a marathon. But Adrian's face did not move, not because he was wicked, because he had trained his heart not to hope. Hope had killed his father, and Adrian refused to let hope kill him too. Please, Monica said again, voice breaking. Forgive me. Adrian's eyes stayed on her for a long moment. Then he spoke, calm but sharp. Do you know what the funny thing is? He asked. If you came here 10 years ago, you would not have found a mansion. You would not have found a billionaire. You would have found a hungry boy and a tired man still keeping your slippers by the wall. Monica covered her mouth as she cried harder. I didn't know, she whispered. Adrian nodded once, slowly. That's what hurts, he said. Not only did you left, but that you never even checked if we were alive. Monica's chest rose like she wanted to defend herself, but her throat couldn't carry the lie. I was ashamed, she managed. I thought if I came back, your father would insult me. I thought you would hate me, so I ran away from my guilt. Adrian's jaw tightened. My father would have welcomed you, he said quietly. That man loved you more than he loved himself. Monica's face twisted in pain. Paul, she whispered, like the name was hot in her mouth. Adrian walked to the window. His back faced her. I watched him die, Adrian said. I watched him still believe you would return. I watched him whisper your name like prayer. Monica sobbed so hard she almost choked. I'm sorry, she repeated. Adrian, I swear I'm sorry. Adrian turned back slowly. Sorry is easy, he said. Sorry can be a performance. Sorry can be a sentence someone says when they are caught. Monica lifted her head quickly. I'm not performing, she cried. I'm not here to act. I'm here because I'm tired. I'm tired of running. Adrian studied her, and for 1 second, just one, he saw something in her eyes. Not pride, not arrogance, fear, real fear. The kind of fear that comes when someone has fallen too far and they finally realize they are alone. But Adrian's heart still didn't soften fully, because fear can also be selfish. He asked the question he needed to ask. So why are you here now? He said, voice flat. Monica froze. That question hit her like a slap, and for the first time, her tears paused, because she knew the truth was ugly. She swallowed. I saw the news, she whispered. I saw your face online.
I saw people saying Adrian Chinedu is a billionaire. Adrian's face hardened. So you came because I'm rich, he said plainly.
Monica shook her head quickly. No, she cried. No, please don't say it like that. I came because I've missed you. I came because guilt has been killing me. Adrian's eyes didn't blink. Guilt has been killing you, he repeated. Or hunger has been chasing you. Monica flinched. Then she whispered something that surprised Adrian. I came because I have nowhere else. The room went quiet. Adrian's throat tightened slightly. Monica continued, voice trembling. I tried, Adrian, she said. I tried to live the life I wanted. I thought money would heal me. I thought comfort would make me feel safe. But it didn't. Adrian didn't speak. So Monica spoke more, and her story spilled out like dirty water from a broken bucket. I left because I was angry, Monica confessed. Angry at poverty, angry at waiting, angry at waking up with empty kitchen. Adrian listened with stiff silence. I met a man, Monica continued. Chief Danladi. He was rich. He promised me everything. She wiped her eyes. He bought me clothes. He gave me a big house. He carried me to parties. For the first time, people respected me. Her voice dropped. But he wasn't a good man. Adrian's eyes narrowed slightly. Monica nodded quickly, like she wanted Adrian to believe her. He controlled me, she said. He insulted me. He reminded me every day that I was nothing without him. She swallowed hard. And when he got tired of me, he threw me out. Adrian's brows lifted a little. Monica laughed bitterly. He replaced me with a younger woman, she said, just like that, like I was a used rapper. Her shoulders shook as she continued. I became a nobody again, she said. I didn't even have family that could hold me. I was ashamed. I was scared. I didn't know how to face Paul after leaving him like that. Adrian's voice cut in. But you knew where we lived. Monica nodded, tears returning. I went back once, she whispered, years ago. Adrian's fingers clenched slightly. I stood on the street, Monica said. I saw the window. I saw the door. I want to knock. She shook her head. But I heard neighbors talking. They said Paul was sick. They said you moved. I panicked. I ran away again. Adrian's lips pressed tight. So you ran, he said. Monica nodded, ashamed. Yes, she whispered. I ran. Adrian stared at her like he was trying to find the mother he used to imagine as a child. Finally, he said quietly, So why come now? Monica inhaled shakily. Because I'm tired, she said, and because I can't lie. I also thought maybe you could help me. That honesty hit Adrian harder than fake tears. He exhaled slowly. At least you're honest, he said. Monica cried again. Please, she begged. Please, Adrian, I know I don't deserve it. But I can't continue like this. Adrian's face didn't soften, but something in his eyes loosened slightly. He walked to the center of the room and stood over her. I will not pretend, he said. I don't know how to love you like a mother. You left too long ago. Monica's face fell. But, Adrian continued, I will not hate you either. Hate is heavy, and I have carried enough weight in my life. Monica looked up, hope flickering. Adrian raised a hand. Don't misunderstand, he said. Forgiveness is not the same as trust. Monica nodded quickly. Yes, I understand. Adrian's voice became firm. If you truly want to be in my life, he said, you will start from where you abandoned us. Monica blinked, confused. What do you mean? Adrian pointed gently toward the door. I run a foundation, he said. Quiet help, shelters, food programs, skills training. Monica stared. I want you to volunteer there, Adrian continued. I want you to serve people, respect people, the same kind of people you ran away from. Monica's throat tightened. If you can do that, Adrian said, without pride, without complaining, without looking down. He paused, eyes sharp. Then maybe I can begin to believe you. Monica cried again, but this time the tears carried fear, because she knew what he was asking was not small. It wasn't punishment, it was exposure. It was being forced to stand face to face with the life she hated. Still, Monica whispered, I will do it. Adrian nodded. And one more thing, he added. Monica's eyes lifted quickly. You will not move into this house, Adrian said. You will not touch my money. You will not use my name for anything. Monica flinched like it stung. Adrian's voice stayed steady. If you came because I'm rich, he said, you will get tired and leave again. But if you came for redemption, you will stay, even without comfort. Monica swallowed. I accept, she whispered. Adrian turned away slightly. My assistant will take you to a small guest apartment nearby, he said. Tomorrow morning you start. Monica stood slowly. She looked like she wanted to hug him, but she didn't dare. As she walked toward the door, she whispered, Adrian, your father would be proud of you. Adrian didn't answer, but his shoulders stiffened. And when Monica finally left, Adrian sank into a chair like his bones were suddenly old. His eyes burned, not because he missed Monica, but because her presence had dragged his father's ghost back into the room. Before Monica's return, before the engagement scandal, Vanessa's story with Adrian did not start as love. It started as opportunity, but Adrian didn't know that early, and Vanessa didn't know Adrian could see more than she thought. They met at a charity gala. It was one of those events where cameras flash more than the truth. Vanessa came in like a brand. She wore a dress that hugged her like confidence. Her braids were neat. Her perfume was loud. Her smile was the kind that says, I'm here to be noticed. Adrian came in quietly. No noise, no unnecessary friends, no spraying money, just calm. People still greeted him with respect, though, because money has a smell. Vanessa noticed him from far, not because of love, because of the title. Billionaire. She knew him, even if she had never met him before. She had seen his face online, so Vanessa did what Vanessa knew how to do. She positioned herself. First, she didn't rush him. She watched. She waited for the right moment. Then, she created accident. She moved closer when she saw him standing alone near the drinks. She pretended to reach for a glass at the same time. Their hands almost touched. Vanessa laughed softly like it was fate. Oh, sorry, she said sweetly. I didn't see you there. Adrian looked at her calmly. He didn't act like a hungry man. He only nodded. No problem, he said. Vanessa smiled wider. Most rich men she met would have immediately started talking about her body, or asking for her number like they were doing her a favor. But Adrian didn't. That was new. So Vanessa changed strategy. Instead of seducing, she acted like a good woman. She said, You're Adrian Chinedu, right? I know your work. I admire how you help young entrepreneurs. That line worked, because Adrian respected ambition. He asked questions, not surface questions, deep ones. What do you value most? He asked. Vanessa said, success. He asked, what about kindness? Vanessa shrugged. Kindness is nice, but it doesn't pay bills. Adrian didn't argue. He just nodded like he was writing it down inside his head. Then something happened at the gala that made Adrian pay more attention. A waiter accidentally spilled drink near Vanessa's shoe. Other women would have insulted the waiter like it was sport. Vanessa almost reacted the same. Her face tightened, her mouth opened. But then she noticed Adrian watching, so she quickly smiled and said, It's okay. She even added a soft, Don't worry. The waiter looked relieved and thanked her. Adrian saw that and thought, maybe she is not as harsh as she looks. But what Adrian didn't know was, Vanessa's kindness that night was not character. It was performance. She was covering favor. She was intentionally building an image in front of Adrian. Patient, classy, forgiving, because she knew what she wanted. After the event, she didn't ask for his number like a desperate person. She let him ask, because she wanted him to feel like he chose her. And Adrian, curious, asked for her number. Vanessa went home that night and danced in her room, not because her heart found love, because she saw her future opening. From that point, Vanessa became intentional. She began posting soft content online, not the usual harsh, proud captions. She started sharing charity posts. She shared motivational quotes about humility. She even visited an orphanage once and posted pictures. But she did it strategically, timed, because she knew Adrian liked simple goodness. Adrian started inviting her out. At first he didn't spend crazy money on her. That annoyed Vanessa, but she endured it because she was playing long game. She listened more, she laughed at his jokes, she acted interested in deep conversations. When he talked about values, she nodded. When he mentioned loyalty, she said, "That's rare these days." She learned his fears slowly. She noticed he was not like other rich men. He didn't want a woman who worshipped money, so Vanessa acted like a woman who didn't care about money. She would even say things like, "Honestly, I just want peace. I'm tired of fake relationships." Meanwhile, her mind was already counting his properties. Adrian watched her closely. Not only the things she said, but the things she did when she thought nobody was watching. Sometimes he would see her snap at staff, or look down on someone, or speak with that same poison pride, and each time, Adrian's mind would remember his father. Still, Adrian continued. Why? Because Adrian's not just dating her. He was studying her. He was investigating love like business, and he hated that about himself, but fear made him cold. The day Adrian finally proposed, it wasn't because he was fully convinced. It was because he wanted to bring out the real Vanessa. He knew something about people. Some people pretend very well in dating stage, but once they feel they have won, their real character appears. So Adrian proposed on purpose, not out of romantic foolishness, but out of a controlled test. He gave her the ring. Vanessa cried beautifully. Not fake tears, real excitement. She hugged him. She said, "Yes." She posted her hand online immediately. And from that moment, Vanessa's pride increased. She began acting like the world owed her respect. That was the Vanessa who slapped the old man outside Golden Plaza Mall, and Adrian, behind that disguise, finally confirmed what he feared. That was why, even though he proposed, he still prepared the engagement reveal. Because deep down, Adrian knew, if he didn't face this truth now, he might become his father later. The shelter was in Surulere, not glamorous, not for pictures, just real. Children running around with worn slippers, women with tired eyes, men whose lives had crumbled, the smell of soup and sweat and survival. Monica froze at the gate. For a second, she looked like she wanted to turn back, but then she remembered Adrian's words. "Start from where you abandoned us." She stepped inside. A supervisor approached her. "Are you the new volunteer?" the woman asked. Monica nodded. "Yes." The supervisor handed her gloves. "Good," she said. "Go and join them in the kitchen." Monica entered the kitchen and reality hit her hard. Big pots, heat, sweat, women stirring soup with strength born from hardship. Monica's eyes widened. "This is a lot," she whispered. A woman nearby laughed. "Auntie, you never see anything," she said. "Shift start." Monica swallowed and started washing plates. Her hands shook. Water splashed her clothes. Her back started hurting, and something ugly rose in her mind. This is not my level. But then she remembered Paul's face, and the pride collapsed into shame. She kept washing, plate after plate. She served food, she cleaned mess, she listened to stories, she saw pain. That night, Monica returned to the small guest apartment and cried until her eyes swelled. Not because the work was hard, but because she finally understood something. Poverty wasn't just lack of money. Poverty was lack of mercy, and she had been merciless. Vanessa didn't change in one day. She broke first, then she rebuilt. First she hid, then she got tired of hiding, because shame is heavy when you carry it alone. Her mother kept pushing. "You will not heal by locking yourself inside," Mrs. Helen told her. "You will heal by changing." Vanessa started volunteering too, not for show, because she needed to feel human again. One afternoon she was serving food at the shelter when she saw an old man sitting in the corner. Torn clothes, tired eyes. He reminded her of the old Adrian. Vanessa froze. Her heart pounded. She stood there holding a plate, shaking. Her mother whispered, "Go. This is your moment." Vanessa swallowed and walked toward him slowly. She knelt. "Good afternoon, sir," she said gently. "Please, would you like food?" The old man nodded. Vanessa served him carefully, very carefully, like she was trying to repair something broken. The old man ate quietly. Then he said, "God bless you, my daughter." Vanessa's eyes filled with tears. "No, sir," she whispered. "God bless you." When she stood up, she felt lighter. Not because she was forgiven by the world, but because she had started killing the pride inside her. Adrian began visiting Grace's school often, sometimes to donate books, sometimes to repair classrooms, sometimes just to talk. Grace didn't fall into his wealth. She didn't start calling him my billionaire. She didn't start forcing soft voice. She stayed normal, and that was what Adrian liked. One evening, he offered to drive her home. Grace hesitated, then agreed. Inside the car, it was quiet. Grace stared out the window. Adrian asked softly, "If I wasn't rich, would you still talk to me?" Grace looked at him slowly. Then she said, "If you weren't rich, you wouldn't be sitting in this car." Adrian blinked. Grace continued calmly, "But if you were still Adrian, the man who sat at the bus stop and didn't feel entitled to my kindness, then yes, I would still talk to you." Adrian's chest warmed. Grace added, "But love is not something you can control like business. If you want peace, you must also be honest." Adrian nodded slowly. "I want to be honest," he said. Grace looked at him. "Then stop testing," she said gently. "Start choosing." Adrian swallowed. "I want to choose you," he said. Grace didn't smile like a hungry person. She didn't scream. She just looked at him and said, "Choose me because you're ready, not because you're afraid." Adrian nodded. "I'm ready," he said, and this time he meant it. 6 months into volunteering, Monica started changing. But change is not straight line. Some days she was humble. Some days the old Monica woke up. One afternoon at the shelter, a woman in the line shouted, "This food is too small. Is it because we are poor?" Monica stepped forward calmly. "Madam," she said gently, "please take it easy. Everybody will eat." The woman pushed Monica's shoulder. "You think you're better than us?" Something flashed in Monica's eyes. Old Monica wanted to slap. Old Monica wanted to insult. Old Monica wanted to show levels. Her mouth opened, then she paused, because she remembered Paul, and she remembered Adrian's eyes. Monica inhaled and said quietly, "I'm not better. I'm only trying to help." Then she turned and brought the woman extra soup, not because the woman deserved it, because Monica wanted to kill the pride in herself. Adrian had come quietly that day to observe. He watched from a distance, and something in him loosened. Later, Adrian called her aside. Monica's hands trembled as she faced him. "Adrian," she said softly. Adrian nodded. "You've worked," he said. "You've served. You've improved." Monica's eyes filled. "Does that mean?" she whispered. Adrian looked away briefly, then back. "It means I can finally say this without anger," he said. He paused. "I forgive you." Monica broke down immediately, crying like a child. Adrian didn't hug her yet, but he didn't step away either. Then Monica whispered something that showed the twist you asked for. "Adrian, I didn't only come for forgiveness." Adrian's brows tightened. Monica wiped her tears. "I came because I was angry," she admitted. "At first." Adrian stared. Monica nodded. "When I saw the news," she said, "part of me felt bitter. I said, so after all my suffering, he became rich without me. I felt like life cheated me." Adrian's face hardened. Monica quickly continued. "And that bitterness made me want to come and claim you," she said, "like you were my reward." Adrian's jaw tightened. Monica shook her head, ashamed. "But when I stepped into that shelter," she whispered, "I realized I'm not angry at you. I'm angry at myself." Her voice broke. "I destroyed a good man. I abandoned a good child. I don't deserve reward. I deserve repentance." Adrian looked at her for a long time. Then he said quietly, "At least you finally see yourself." Monica nodded, crying. "I do," she whispered. One morning, Adrian and Monica stood before Paul's grave. The sky was pale. The air was quiet. Monica fell to her knees immediately. "Oh, Paul," she cried. "I'm sorry, I'm sorry." She pressed her hands against the soil like she wanted the ground to answer. "I was foolish," she sobbed. "I ran after pride. I thought money would save me, but it punished me." Adrian stood behind her, hands in his pockets, heart heavy. Monica lifted her face upward. "Paul," she whispered, "if your spirit can hear me, forgive me." Adrian's throat tightened. He didn't want to cry, but the tears came anyway, quiet, stubborn. He wiped them quickly. Monica stood slowly and faced Adrian. "I can't bring him back," she whispered, "but thank you for letting me face the truth." Adrian nodded once. "This is closure," he said. Monica looked at him softly. "And Grace?" she asked. Adrian blinked. Monica gave a small, sad smile. "I see your eyes change when you mention her," she said. "Don't be afraid of happiness, Adrian." Adrian exhaled. "I'm trying," he admitted. A year after the scandal, Vanessa saw Adrian again. Not online, in real life, at a charity event. Quiet, no cameras, no drama. Adrian stood beside Grace. Grace looked elegant in a modest dress, calm face, natural beauty, peace. Vanessa felt something sting her chest, not jealousy, regret. Not because she wanted Adrian back, but because she wished she had been a better person long before. Vanessa walked toward them slowly. Adrian saw her first. His expression stayed neutral. Grace noticed the tension. Vanessa stopped in front of them. She swallowed. Then she bowed her head slightly. "Adrian?" she said softly. "Grace." Grace nodded politely. Vanessa's voice trembled. "I came to apologize," she said. "Not because I lost you, but because I was cruel, because I slapped you when you looked weak." She inhaled shakily. "That day broke me," she whispered. "But it also opened my eyes." Adrian stared at her for a moment. Then he said calmly, "I'm glad you're changing." Vanessa nodded. "I'm still changing," she admitted. "It's not easy to kill pride." Grace spoke gently. "But you're trying," she said. "That matters." Vanessa looked at Grace, surprised by her kindness. Then she looked at Adrian again. "I don't want anything from you," she said quickly. "I just wanted you to know you were right." Adrian nodded once. "I hope you keep choosing better," he said. Vanessa's eyes filled with tears. "I will," she promised. Then she stepped back and walked away. This time, she didn't walk away in pride. She walked away in humility. And that was the real win. Adrian didn't do a flashy wedding, no helicopters, no jet landing for show. He did a simple, elegant wedding in a quiet outdoor garden. Close family, close friends, soft music, real smiles. Monica attended too, seated quietly, dressed modestly, tears in her eyes. When Grace walked down the aisle, Adrian's breath caught. Not because she was wearing expensive things, but because she looked like peace. Adrian stood tall, but his eyes were soft. He remembered his father's last words, "Don't let greed destroy you." And he knew in that moment that he had finally broken the cycle. After the vows, Adrian held the microphone briefly. He looked at the guests and said calmly, "I spent years testing because I was afraid." A few people chuckled softly. Adrian smiled faintly. "But love is not something you can control like business," he continued. "Love is something you choose with courage." He looked at Grace. "And today, I'm choosing courage." People clapped. Monica cried openly. Later, when Adrian and Grace went to greet her, Monica held their hands. "I prayed for your happiness," she whispered, voice shaking. "Even when I didn't deserve to pray." Adrian looked at her and said quietly, "Don't waste your second chance, Monica." Monica nodded fast. "I won't," she promised. Grace smiled gently. "Let's start fresh," Grace said. Monica broke down again. This time, Adrian pulled her into a brief hug. Quick, stiff, but real, and Monica knew she didn't only gain a son back, she gained redemption. In this world, many respect clothes before character. Many fear money more than truth. But life has a way of exposing hearts. Because the real test of character is not how you treat the rich. It's how you treat the weak, the tired and the ignored. Because you never know who is watching. You never know who is testing. And you never know whose life you are touching, without even realizing it. Money can buy comfort, but it cannot buy character, and in the end, it is not what you have that matters most, it is who you are.